So, motherfuckers, after 3 days of strong competition in Peru, we reached the last round of the Rapid World Championship under 20. I only scored in the eight and in the first 8 rounds 4 points, so I have no option of nothing, of course. It's only 4 points of eight, but always I try to win all the games. Doesn't matter if I'm fighting for prizes or not. So that's the last round that I play so well. Maybe the my best game in all the tournament. Okay, I start with c4, c5, knight f3, d6, bishop b5. And another important thing, if you want to play well the Maroczy, pay so attention to this video because I really like how I understand this structure in this game. Bishop b5, bishop d7. Okay, there are knight c6 and knight d7. There are possible moves. The Blitz tournament, we're going to see a game with knight d7. Okay, my opponents play bishop d7, bishop takes, knight takes was possible too. Queen d7, and now after c4, I have a Malafio structure. Of course, I need to break on d4 and then to reach the real Maroczy ring. So, okay, all the first moves are the main theory, so that's not so important. This is the normal development of the position. I place the like I English attack, but I sarcasm, so it's not English attack. Of course, here h3 was possible too, but I prefer f3 too. I prefer in general the stable position with f3, preventing knight g4. Okay, so yes, this is all also so normal. Here black have some moves, but the main move was a6. And here in that position there are hundreds of thousands of games. I played, for example, in Sands this year against Hipólito Assis. Here the main move was a6, and here a4 was the main move, and queen d3 was another so common move. And that's my game against Hipólito in Sands. But my opponent chose a strange move, who was knight d4. Maybe so fast to make this move. Maybe after you place all the rooks in the center and play a6, maybe this move can be better, but in this starting position was strange to define not so early knight takes d4. But that's not the huge problem of black plays. Of course, knight takes d4 one of the best, but after knight takes, bishop takes, here black should play with a6. And now the black plan was play the rooks on c8, d8, maybe queen c6, knight d7, or e6, d5. They are the for white more or less the same. Place the pieces in the center. With queen d2, rook c1, rook d8 was more or less the normal ways to play. Queen d2 or queen e2 or queen d3, there are many ways to play the queen. For example, queen d3, rook c8. This can be like a normal development of the game. Rook a d1, rook a d8, for example, king h1, queen d6. Now maybe rook d2 to double rooks. No, sorry, black is attacking on c4. Sorry, first b3, and this could be so normal. One of the problems for black to take on d4 so early is that the bishop is defending the knight on c3. So black having this, for example, in many lines with the bishop on e3, okay, to solve someone. Maybe place a6, queen here, rook c8, for example, b3, or maybe I'm going to play, for example, rook d1. No, sorry, rook d1 is knight d5. Okay, b3, for example, to solve one line. Right here, queen 2. And here, for example, I can have this breakthrough because I cannot take because rook takes e3. This is also typical in this line, or with the queen 7-2 attacking on c3. But after knight takes d4, the bishop is defending on c3, and I have no these themes anymore. But okay, let's continue with the game. Okay, but my opponent chose a5, which is a so strange move because black counterplay was in this position. Black have two breakthroughs, one on d5 and the other on b5. Now after a5, black is losing all his option of break on b5. Apart that is giving to me the b5 square, which is so useful. So a5 is a bad move here, of course. In some lines of the Maroczy, a5, a4 was good, but in the standing position, I have b3 here, and black have no time to make all his plan. So queen c6, here white have many options. I choose rook c1, who is a good move. Another good move to show where was the best placement for the pieces was the rook to c1, of course. The rook to e1 was good. King to h1 and queen to e2. They're the four best moves in that position, one of each piece. That's well to show where was the best places for the pieces. Okay, so rook c1, placing the rook on the same file of the queen, logical. 97, now I play white 95, attacking the pawn. Rook e8, and here I take, and place the queen to the center. King g8. For the moment, I was playing perfectly, 100%. And now I chose to attack the king instead of. Sorry. My first plan was simply put the rook into the center and king h1, for example. This was my first plan, king h1, rook here, queen d2, and I was better here. And that's the plan that the machine recommends. But during the game, I think that a4, a5 could be strong. And it's strong too, but the machine prefer king h1 a little bit. But the a4, a5 plan was good too. The a4, rook a8. Now king h1, of course, was the move because now black is threatening queen c5, trading queens, and that benefits black. King h1. And here b6 was a so passive move. Maybe queen c5. The best response was queen d2, of course, and not trading queens. And after black had this idea too of a4, b4, b5, trying to open fight, but now I have an interesting pawn sacrifice with h4, c takes and h5. So also interesting f6, and now simply a3 and play with the compensation. I really like this plan of the machine. But okay, my opponent here showed d6, and useful move. I don't understand that move. What makes the pawn on b6 is not making on b7? I don't really understand. And here I play f5. So look well. The machine prefer to play slowly with h3, but f5 is advantage too. And now f6, strange move, and now I play great queen d2, because trying to go to a6. My queen on d4 now is not making nothing. So queen d2 was the best move. King d7, and now, well, my focus was on the king side. So what I play, rook c3, to gain with more pieces to the attack. Now all my pieces are, well, after I pass it to the with the rook to e3 or to h3, all my pieces are so well coordinated. The rook on f1 is attacking, the queen on d2 is attacking too. They was so well placed on d5. One thing that I didn't comment is f6, of course, was a mistake because now my knight was also great on d5. Of course, he had the d5 square, but a knight on the square on the fourth rank was not the same like a square on the fifth rank. On the fifth rank, sorry. And apart, I have the e6 square, who is so to here e6 was a better defense for black. Okay, f6, queen d2, here c3 will move 95, and here I have a winning sequence, more or less easy that I didn't see. With take here, looks the best. Take rook h3, of course. Rook h8 is not possible because I can take only 7. So after g5, we have 2. And the principal idea is that I'm sacrificing on f6. He have no good ways to defend because rook f8 is not possible because knight e7. I'm threatening sacrifice knight takes f6. And apart I'm coming with queen f5 too, attacking queen e7, but the main threatening was knight takes f6. I didn't find that idea. Of course, I saw the idea of pass the rook to h3, but I saw d5. But I didn't understand that I'm after winning 2, I'm sacrificing on f6. Okay, so f takes d6 will be won the game. The act. Okay, I play a4 who still have advantage, of course. g5, and now I trade plan because my queen on d2 was so good attacking the square a6. And now after the move d5, the a6 square has defended, but now have open another hole in the black position, the h5 square. So what I do, go with the king into queen b7 to maybe to try to defend. And on the I don't know. The idea of that move is defend the a7 pawn and free the rook to defend. Rook g3, good move. a6, knight f4, great, improving my knight. Of course, my knight is well placed on d5, but for the moment, it's not making so much special. So now that the a7 pawn is defending and nevermore is going to be sacrificed on f6, was a great idea to improve the knight, knight f4, king h7. And now I go to e6, improving the knight. But I can keep the knight on f4 and play more aggressive, for example, rook h3. This is not possible because yeah, it's 5, checkmate. And if rook h8 is only move, knight g6, king g7, and here I can simply, sorry, I can simply take the rook and rook d1 and I have a huge advantage. And the another similar way was queen h5, rook h8, knight g6, king g7. And here, of course, I can take the rook, but I have other interesting move. Like, for example, I have this line with knight d5, rook d1, double rooks, trading queens, and I have a so after rook. But the endgame was not so clear. And another move that I like here so much was h4, trying to attack. But okay, I choose 96, who of course is advantage too. Well, all the time during the game, I maintain at least a point of advantage. Rook g8, rook d1 will move the rook on f8, the on f1 now is not making nothing, and I go to d1. Now, my idea, of course, with that move was rook d5 and still improving the position. And my opponent finally collapsed and decides to make something because he suffered because he have no space in the position and no plan. So he decides to try to open and generate counterplay, but was not the best move. b5. Of course, it takes bad move because a4. So I take with the c pawn. Of course, I open the c5, but now I have a protective pass pawn on b5. b4. And again, I trade the position on my knight. I feel that now that the c5 was open, I prefer my knight on d5, controlling the square c3, and now I have the b5 pawn, so on d5 I can help the pawn to push to b6, so I decide to came back to d5 with the knight. Rook c5, knight d5, rook d8, queen e1, good move, attacking a5, rook c2, and I simply take the pawn. Of course, he have one active rook and this more or less good knight on e5, but with the queen on b7, he cannot attack. Rook e2, rook c3, trading one rook. I give a pawn, but doesn't matter because I didn't want to place our focus on into defend this pawn because, for example, if I play queen before defending the pawn, he can double rooks on 7 rank, and I don't like that. So I prefer to give a pawn, but trade one pair of rooks. And now queen e7 and queen c7 was better. Queen c3 was a little bit strange because we have this line, but after rook a1 I'm winning. Okay, he chose queen a5, 97, queen f2, 95 again. And after rook a2, here I fail a little bit. Queen g3 was the cleanest way to win. Here I'm to completely win. After rook g1, natural move, but not the best. After h5, black is more or less in the game. Of course, the machine says that white is completely winning, but in a game it was not so easy to face that many pawns in the king side, and black has his active piece. Here, for example, h5, queen d3, queen f5, queen f4 was better for white. But here, after queen h4, I'm completely winning because I'm taking a rook. Queen c7, king d6. If he goes back, I don't know, maybe I can simply play queen d8 and queen f6 or example. Here I can play d8, for example. And here and queen e7. Now, or knight f6 or queen f6. Um, I prefer knight f6. And it's checkmate. But okay, my opponent plays king d6, and after knight f4 I won the rook. Won the. So I really like this game. This game and the call was in the second round was my favorite game of this tournament. The games that I lost, I played bad, but in some victories, I played some good chess, especially in this game because in the past I played more or less bad the Maroczy extractor, but in this game I really understand how was the plans. Of course, my opponents play bad with a5, but I react well with b3. He plays well the rook. His plan was good too. And now f4 interesting too, king h1. The f4 f5 plan was so interesting. And now after f6 I regroup so well the pieces. First with queen d2, rook c3, then with queen e2. I miss this idea of take on f6 as my only play of the game, but yeah, was good. Queen e2 again regrouping. Now improving the knight to e6 and then returning to d5. And the last interesting moment for me was rook c3 here, understanding that I should give up a pawn to eliminate his active pieces. So I really like this game. So that's the last game of the Rapid World Champion. I finished with 5 points of 9. Maybe I want to search fast for the final results. But the internet was so slow and I don't know if I'm going to have time to. Yes, this looks like the internet was so fast. Yes, I finished with 5 points of 9 in the 25th position. Very bad result, but okay, that's what was. I try to play the best chess that I can, but I fail, especially in the last day. I lost in the first two rounds. So what am I going to say my tournament? I don't know what this doesn't was. 1 second. I'm trying to put the final result of the tournament. Is that? No, it's not that. Oh, it's more thing. No, I cannot put the final result, but I lost 45 point of rating. I make 5 point of 9. Uh, Final position 25. Yes, no. Bad tournament. So just after that was the Blitz tournament. And now I'm going to comment and analyze all the Blitz tournaments. So let's keep an eye to the following videos, and I hope that you enjoy with this tournament. I enjoy playing, but okay, that's a bad result, but I enjoy too. So bye bye.